Good morning, Facebook family and friends. We're in the Motor City on June 4th, 2025. 2 days ahead of last year's schedule. I did this on D-Day last year, June 6th. But I thought with June busting out all over and a rainstorm expected this afternoon at 5 o'clock, I better, before it beats down all the flowers, take a video of the progress here in the backyard. The iris have the show at the moment. Alcazar, this white ruffle variety here in my patio garden. Lady ferns have exploded out of their pots. I have them here on the deck with me. I hope some of you have been busy in your gardens as well. But let me show you around. Bring you up to date with the progress of things. This catmint has really doing well this spring. It's been covered with these purple flowers for a couple of weeks now. Iridescent green hummingbirds are coming in, going up and down the stalks, gathering, I guess, what, nectar? Iridescent green bodies with red ruby undersides. Yeah, before the rain knocks down all these iris, I thought I would give you a look. I finally got my 24 remaining strawberry plants in the ground over here. I think it's probably going to be another year before they're ready to give too much, but there are a few little red berries going. Those are all brought from my other house on Bishop. But the iris right now, the white ones here around the patio and deck, are really looking great. Knockout roses are just starting to open. I have this red variety that was on the property when we came in 2.5 years ago. My champagne wishes are about to open as well here, the two larger floribunda bushes. I've been fighting with my wisteria arch for most of the spring. I decided to try and get it up naturally, and have been using long sticks, and it looks like it's survived all of my brutality, and it's going to have a few blossoms here in a few more days. So things are looking pretty good here on the deck. Again, those lady ferns, I just divided those 2 years ago from 2 pots to 4 pots, and they are just really popping out of the pots. By the way, if any of you are nearby and want some Alcazar iris, I have an excess. They're 22-inch stalks, and they're moving along, but they still have good life in them. There's 3 large clumps over here on this west fence that you can see here at the distance, as well as a couple more clumps in the front that you could have some of. Come and get a dozen long stem Alcazar iris. Champagne wishes are just beginning to open up. Well, lots of weeding here this spring as I chase the weeds for one more season. Here on this neglected property. Not much happening back here since the muscari passed in the formal garden. Since my aggressive pruning of the crab tree above has began to fell in, I think there's less sunlight coming through. I think I need to do another thinning of the branches above. And these 2 Spire arborvitae although they're alive, they didn't put out any new growth here. See, I think they just have too much shade and a little too much root competition from the crab tree that has occupied this space for probably 70 years. I'm imagining it was put in when the house was built in 1953. Yesterday I decided to do a little pruning on my boxwood. I came up with 9 spirals on this thing. It was indicating spirals that right at these spots I couldn't resist clipping it and defining it. I've already eaten twice from my green bean, my blue lake bush bean patch. Had a great plateful last night. It's been so cold here this spring though in Detroit. They've been out here almost 5 weeks, which was much too early. But I'd already germinated them inside, and I had to get them outside. They were just getting huge, but it's been a late start to spring in the Detroit area. I've acquired a new arbor, or trellis. I don't know if they're called arbors or trellises. Trellis arbor. Small boxwood. So far those boxwood moths that they're talking about have not bothered me. I put a little chlordane dust on my roses and boxwood just to keep them at bay. 9 barcus blooming here at the corner of the formal bed. I just transplanted 2 of my junipers to my 2 concrete urns at the rear of the formal bed. I continue to grow these junipers that I find volunteering around the property, driveway cracks, wherever. Another couple of weeks and this clematis will explode, I'm imagining, like it did last year, although the increasing shade won't help that. Covered with purple blooms, if you remember from last year. The white Chinese will still be here, heading up with flowers. The lady's mantle also looks like it's going to be next, with its chartreuse blooms on the edge of my walkway here. I think that bone meal, the bone meal in the lady's mantle holes, when I transplanted them 2 years ago, has really caused them to supersize. I can barely walk through this space here now. It's so tight. I didn't think that would happen. Not that quickly. And here at the exit, same thing. Really tight walk. My magnolia that you saw bloom a month ago is looking great. This is a dry root purchase through the mail. And it seems, despite my wet back corner of the property here, seems to be happy here, getting just enough sun. My compost pile, I'm already borrowing it from it and putting it on top of the beds under roses, low areas. Plants it like a little help. This is all kitchen scraps from the winter, and it's already broken down. Really happy about that. I finished my weeding of all the buckthorn starts that were along this fence, a buckthorn itself. Got all of those out and have repositioned these variegated hostas so that I've got, 3, 6, maybe almost 9, 10 flanking this eastern side of the yard. Well, before the rain arrives this evening at about 5 o'clock, better get around to see the peonies and the padilla iris out in front, because the rain is probably going to really knock them down this afternoon, early evening. Again, Again, here's the Alcazar from 1910. Vilmorin of France brought it over to the U.S. Kind of revolutionized the American market on iris with that amazing flower. Here we are out in front now, what I call my West Garden, with Padilla sweet iris. Smells like grape Kool-Aid. You're probably familiar with it. And my iris, I'm calling it Striker because of that little red strike in the center. Looks like somebody splashed blood or something down in the middle. Very impressive. And I've discovered this year, after looking more closely, that I have a couple pale pink varieties here in the mix. The generous lady, what, 3-4 years ago over on Audubon, said I could have, just dig them out of her front bed down in Grosse Pointe Park. Here's one of the pink ones. I don't know if you can make it out. Pale, but I like this this red strike, scarlet strike I'll call it, down in the center of these white peonies. They are much larger this year than last year. Again, bone meal is what I threw in each hole to get them started, and they've got a good start. I hope you like the looks of them. If you like a peony in your buttonhole or corsage, come on over and you can have one. They smell great too. My Egyptian walking onion, first thing green in the garden every spring, is looking good just behind here, developing those ornamental tops with the flower and bulblet to come shortly. I'm trying to stretch this line of both the iris and peonies all the way down to the sidewalk. I'm going to need a few more years to do that, but they're looking good. You're seeing them, I think, at their peak here. Although they just really opened when it got warm yesterday. Maybe they'll hang on for a while longer after this rain this afternoon. But I'm glad they've overlapped the iris. They get the two-tone, two-color effect, which is, I think, nicer than just one or the other. I've got butternut squash, acorn squash germinated over here in the west bed that gets more sun than in the backyard. My fennel transplant for my Trombley client is doing well. Blackberry bush on the corner. Alberta spruce is continuing to do well here in the container. That was a Grosse Pointe curb rescue from what, gosh, a number of years ago now. Big Daddy hostas are larger this year. Hydrangea, blue hydrangea, is going to do well there. Again. But a few of these things we're waiting on, these don't put out their bloom until late July, August, and those big hydrangea. Well, that's about the look of things this June 4th of 2025. Hope you enjoyed the look of things here in Harper Woods, Michigan. June is busting out all over. Glad we caught our video before the rain. Till next time.